Welcome back to our live webcast from the floor of the Washington, D.C. Auto Show. And joining me right now, a guy that I don't have to introduce. Everybody should recognize you. You're everywhere these days. Alan Mulally, the CEO of Ford Motor Company.
Good to see you, John.
Great having you here.
Oh, I'm glad to be with you.
So what are you doing in Washington? I mean, you didn't just come in for another auto show. That's the last thing you need to do, right? You go to so many of them.
Well, one of the reasons was to attend the auto show, but of course we have so many of our stakeholders here with the U.S. government. And we have made a commitment that we want to be part of the solution for energy independence and energy security and sustainability. And so part of the reason is to get a chance to network with all of the people that are developing those policies.
How do you rate us as a country in terms of achieving those goals here? I mean, I pointed out to just the other guests that, we started CAFE in the late 70s. And here we are a quarter of a century later using more oil than we ever did before.
Well, I think that's a really good point, which I think highlights the need that we need a comprehensive policy. As you pointed out, since 1975, we've improved the fuel mileage on cars by 100%, on trucks by 75%. And the Ford commitment is every vehicle, whether it's a Fiesta or whether it's an F-150, it's going to be best in class on fuel efficiency. So clearly for us to have an integrated energy policy that deals with how we generate the electricity as well as how we use it, that is the most important thing that we work on together.
Are there any specifics that you'd love to talk to the people here in Washington about, of saying, hey, you ought to be considering this, that, and the other thing?
Well, that's very interesting, John, because they are so supportive of the Ford technology and innovation roadmap, as you have captured very well for everybody. But focusing on the base of improving the internal combustion engine, both petrol and diesel, absolutely key.
And EcoBoost is leading the charge
absolutely.
on that. Right.
Direct fuel injection, turbocharging. But then on top of that, continue to make progress on the hybrids, then move into more electricity with the all-electric vehicles, like we're coming out with the Transit Connect and the Focus. But then also keeping our eye on what does the infrastructure look like? What do we really have to do on batteries to get the cost down, to get the efficiency up so we can get them to large-scale implementation? But also keeping our eye on hydrogen, because with a hydrogen infrastructure and a really viable fuel cell, and a very viable battery, we could be actually having a water come out the tailpipe. So nobody knows how it's going to turn out, but I think that the Ford plan is to be there on every one of the enabling technologies.
But as a country now, essentially we're broke. To me, anything that relies on infrastructure investment is probably being pushed down the road. Do you see it that way or no?
Well, I think on the other side, probably the most important thing that we all can do for economic development in the United States is get back to some of the fundamentals about what do we need to do about infrastructure that allow businesses to grow. Because I'm with you, the most important thing we do is to get the fabulous economy of the United States growing and get that innovation, that creativity growing, because that's the thing that's going to get us back.
One of the hot topics that we've been talking about a lot on this webcast is diesel. What's your outlook for diesel in the American market?
Well, I think that we're going to continue to harmonize the regulations around the world, and clearly in the United States we got off to a bad start with a lot of pollutants associated with the diesel. The new diesels are so fantastic. But of course, with the afterburn conversions that we have to do and the money that goes with that, then it makes it really tough as an economic case. So I think we'll keep working, driving down the cost of the diesel. I think we'll harmonize the requirements, and I think we'll see more of these dynamite diesels in all vehicle sizes going forward.
Because of course you've got these in Europe, and you've got
absolutely
Focuses and Fusions and
people
the like
love
in Europe, and they get phenomenal fuel economy.
And when people find out how smooth the new diesels, they have their idea of running rough and having pollutants, and these new diesels are as good or better than what we can do with petrol. So I think when the more people learn about it, the more we get the rules harmonized, we get the cost of the after treatment down, I think people are going to have some great choices with diesels.
What about electrics? What's your outlook for them?
I think electrics are going to continue to develop. Clearly it's a system solution, because just having an electric vehicle without the infrastructure to take care of it is not going to be able to support vehicles in large volumes. I think the progression, John, is going to be the way you and others have described it in the industry, is that we're going to see continuous improvement on the internal combustion engine. We'll see more hybrids as we drive down the cost of batteries and the capability of the batteries, and then we'll see more and more electrification. But I see that technology roadmap going forward. So that's why we want to absolutely be working on the base internal combustion engine, because it's going to be with us for a while.
Okay, quick shift here. How is Ford doing in the market right now today? I've been asking all the auto execs coming in, what's January look like for you?
Well, January is a little bit slower than December, and Of course,
December was a pretty good month.
December-
in the new reality.
exactly. December was a good month, and the neatest thing about December is on an annualized rate, it was better than the entire 2009. So it's a little bit of a slowdown in January. As you know, January is a little bit slow. We had great products for December before the Christmas, and we think that the run rate for next year will be in the 11.5 to 12.5. That is slower on a recovery than we've had
This
in the
year,
past.
you mean?
Yeah, this year. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
2010.
You're still thinking 2009.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, 2010, we see it about 11.5 to 12.5, and that's slower than what we've had in past recoveries from recessions. But from a planning point of view, I think that's appropriate.
Do you guys announce your earnings this week, Thursday?
On Thursday we do, and we look forward to updating everybody on fourth quarter and year end. Also, John will give everybody insight into our best assessment of our guidance for 2010.
So I know it's even illegal for you to say if you're going to make a profit or not, but you like the outlook for the first quarter of this year?
We look forward to sharing that with you on Thursday, John.
And that would be the same answer for the last quarter of last year, too.
Exactly, but it's neat to point out that as we have gone through this horrible recession, we took the action aggressively to restructure ourselves to the lower demand. We actually accelerated the development of the new cars and trucks that people do want, and we actually returned to profitable operations in every Ford operation, John, around the world on the third quarter. So clearly, we are on a profitable growth plan, and we look forward to giving everybody an update on Thursday.
And that was very impressive to do it on a global basis, that every region made money.
Well, it just shows you the power of this new Ford, because Ford's had great operations around the world, great vehicles around the world, but now we're bringing all these vehicles to bear in every market, and the scale and now the service for all of the customers. This is going to be a turbo machine for Ford.